Right now, Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call, powered by FanDuel Sportsbook.
All right. Thanks, Ken. Know what I'm doing? I'm crossing off Thursday, crossing off Sunday, I'm crossing off Tuesday. Will I be crossing off Wednesday? That's the question now as the world turns with the Ravens and the Steelers continues. Welcome to the Sports Call, everyone. Bob Pompeani and Chris Mueller with you at 412-575-2600. That's the number to call on the Borders and Borders hotline. So, once again, the Baltimore Ravens apparently are getting their way. Now, there are those out there who want to say, well, this is just pandemic related, and you have to make sure. Well, listen, today there were no more positive tests for the Steelers. There was one for the Ravens, and it was an IR guy who hadn't had any contact with the team. The NFL basically said, okay, you could reopen your training facility tonight and then decide how you want to fly to Pittsburgh for Tuesday's game. And then all of a sudden, there's talk about a revolt by the Ravens players who may vote not to play the game, looking at a, quote, wildcat strike or something of this nature. And then all of a sudden, the NFL responds to that by pushing it back one more day, which then makes eligible Dobbins and Ingram as running backs. Well, this is all you need to know. The game is now Wednesday. It's been moved from 8 p.m. to 3:40 p.m. so that they can unveil the Rockefeller Christmas tree in New York City, I suppose. And then the Washington game has to be moved from Sunday to Monday, which is a 5 p.m. kickoff, opposite the Ravens and Dallas Cowboys, which is also a 5 p.m. kickoff. So Chris Mueller, make sense of this to me. How much of a role did the Ravens play in extending and delaying and extending and delaying? And they seem to have gotten their way, and now they're going to get players back. Or am I just overly
You know what?
analyzing?
Sorry, Bob. I got to postpone my appearance tonight on the Nightly Sports Call. Can we do this again tomorrow at like 2:45 in the afternoon? I got to go. Sorry, I'm not ready anyway to do this.
Well, you got your Christmas tree lights on, so you should be ready. You're pushing it back.
Listen, they messed with my lighting here. They're trying to take away my shine, but I will not be denied, Bob. So there's a lot of things here in play. One, I think that story that the players wanted to strike or whatever is nonsense, and here's why. You had a bunch of Ravens players on social media earlier today and yesterday, Instagram, Twitter, kind of waiting around looking for the next move and wondering what it was going to be. That doesn't sound like a bunch of players that are getting together and deciding they want to strike. This reeks to me of John Harbaugh and Steve Bisciotti, the owner of the Ravens, getting in Roger Goodell's ear, Bisciotti specifically, and wanting it known that they want at least an extra day to practice. They don't want to be sending their full-on JV squad. They want some of their running backs. Dobbins is their best running back right now, clearly, outside of obviously Lamar Jackson, who's not going to play for sure. We know that. But this just reeks, absolutely reeks of Baltimore getting preferential treatment. The weird thing for me is I'm always cynical, and I assume it has something to do with television. They moved the game, like you just said, to 3:40 so that we could watch a tree get lit up. So clearly they're not worried about this thing. Seriously. Clearly they're not worried about this thing happening in prime time here. I mean, that part
shocking.
of it's ridiculous. The Denver Broncos had to start a practice squad wide receiver at quarterback, and they all took their medicine. And they said, yeah, we deserved it. Our quarterbacks weren't careful enough, and they all got, sick, all got sick, but they all got put on the list as close contacts with Jeff Driscoll. We'll take our medicine. Here's something to note. The Denver Broncos are one of two teams, Titans are the other, that don't really have a single figure who owns the team, who's the voice everything, like Art Rooney here, Steve Bisciotti, or Jerry Jones. They have people jockeying for that title. That makes it very unlikely to me that anybody associated with the Broncos, if they wanted to bend Roger Goodell's ear, could do so on this matter. Ravens, different story. Oh, and by the way, Denver was 3-7, right, going into that game. Baltimore 6-4 and still very much in playoff contention. I wonder if any of those things might have factored into this decision-making process either.
Right.
Just a guess here.
There's no question. I brought that up today talking to Starkey, and I think that's absolutely true. And I also think if the league is so infatuated with moving the Ravens game forward until they get guys back, or if they're concerned about that at all, that's not supposed to be part of what the COVID protocol said. Competitive issues have nothing to do with this. Listen, they told Denver, you play without a quarterback. They could have delayed that game and given them one more day if they were interested in doing that just to get familiar with one another, whatever the case may be. They chose not to do that. And in this case, they seem to be bending over backwards trying to give Baltimore as much time as necessary to get together a team that can be representative of a team that is 6-4 looking to go 7-4.
Yeah.
And now with 2 running backs back,
that's,
I think it's wrong. I think it's the wrong view that they've taken here.
Yeah, I think it's terrible. I honestly, because of maybe my contrarian nature, avoided sort of doing the whole the NFL screwing the Steelers here narrative that was getting pushed a lot in town the last couple of days. But this drives home the point that this is just absurd. Robert Griffin III is not the guy he was as a rookie, but he's still a player that was borderline MVP quality his rookie season in the NFL. We know he can play. What's a bigger handicap? Having no practice like the Ravens should have going into tomorrow's game, although they got to go back in there tonight and have a little walkthrough, or having no quarterback? I'll tell you what it is. It's no quarterback. Denver was a sitting duck. You might as well have bet your entire mortgage on the Saints in that game the minute that Hinton was announced as the starter. Baltimore has a puncher's chance, and they would have if this game was played tomorrow night. This is real bad. It reeks of favoritism. It reeks of the league jaking the whole competitive balance thing because they actually do want to see a marquee matchup here that looks and bears some resemblance to one. And it completely flies in the face, last thing here, of this idea that it's only for medical and player safety reasons that they would delay a game or make a decision like this.
Yep.
Clearly,
we're up against the break, and I agree. It is. There's no question about that. It's the wrong decision. And the fact that they're willing to, NBC is moving it to 340, you can imagine the numbers and the difference it's going to be for ratings and revenue. That to me is shocking. I would have expected the NFL to say, okay, you know what, NBC, we're not going to do that if you don't want to air it at 8. Instead, we're going to open it up because if you look at the Monday game now, there's no network announcement yet. They're trying to figure out where it should go. Anyway, we have a lot to talk about. We want to hear from you and bring us your best Yunzer complaint voice. We're here at 412-575-2600. This is where you air your opinions every night on the Nightly Sports Call, presented by Ireland Contracting. We'll be right back.